Hey everyone, it's Brandon.
Sherry.
Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk about our subscribers had a comment about neutrality, and I wanted to have Carrie and I kind of go back and forth and tackle what it means to come from a place of neutrality and not be polarized in it, in that we don't not have empathy or compassion. Like all these traits and emotions and responses we can carry with us, kind of like our bag of tools or what have you, but it goes back to being whole. And when you are whole, you don't polarize to immediate anger or immediate sadness. You respond to it appropriately through neutrality.
I think what boils down to, as far as I'm concerned, is that we don't sway any longer far to the left or far to the right, meaning super sad or super glad, and all of this depended upon our circumstances or events or things that happen to us. And having an awareness of when and if we do go to those extremes, that we quickly move through that and back into a middle ground. And what I'm meaning is not a middle ground of apathy or no feeling at all, or no compassion or no expression of those things, but a situation wherein we're not controlled by mood swings or by external events. We all like to say, well, that made me mad. No, that did not make me mad. I chose that as my response.
I allowed
consciously.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know I am angered about that is probably more accurate, because then I hold the responsibility. It's kind of like in the Spanish language, when they say we say I'm sick to my stomach. I'm sick in the head. There it's me duele en mi cabeza or me duele en mi estómago. It means it hurts me in my head. And so it then is the active party, which is something separate from the individual itself. And so, that's probably the only thing I remember in my Spanish class. But, that was pretty eye-opening to me, that things don't anger us. Now, we can get angry about them. And I think, it also brings up the other note. To a lot of people think neutrality is, where we just go around, meh, all the time and have no opinion or no this or that. I think we need to be very set in our opinions about things, in our openness to hear and listen. I think we need to know ourselves well enough to know where we stand on certain things, namely because I do believe that we're coming into a time to where that is our purpose. It is not everyone else's purpose. It's not their job. But it is our job to stand for the right thing, for the remembering, for the unforgetting, for the aletheia, for the real truth of exiting here. Not that we're imposing it on people, but we've got to be able to stand firm in who we are. And that will mean a sort of, the term I've been throwing around because I don't know any other way to put it, with me and Brandon just talking, was righteous indignation. And not the righteous indignation that the Christians want to throw around as the God that comes around and kills, the men, women, children, all the animals, destroys everything, that complete annihilation, and calls that righteous. I don't call it righteous at all. I call it murderous. But what I'm talking about is that power center, I guess, being able to access that inner strength to be able to be motivated to stand firm no matter what comes at us.
Yeah, I totally agree. I see it almost as the distortions trying to get us to engage in conflict or try to get a rise out of us. Like I remember just through my own experience, like with my ex-wife, it was almost like she was gaslighting so hard to like drive me crazy so that I would like burst out in anger or, run at her up the stairs to get her to answer a question or get her to understand me. It's almost as if they push the buttons and they poke the bear so that the bear reacts, and then they can shoot it.
What they do, because they've got a script in their head, and they're trying to force you to conform to their script of what quote unquote crazy is.
Right.
So then they subconsciously treat you in a manner to elicit that particular response. And so for the person that it doesn't fit, it's like, what the heck, is going on here? And so they do either the opposite, which would be explaining why this is not the case, which to them only confirms it, because to them denial falls right into their trap. And so I think in those situations, and I like to try to explain myself, or I used to. Anymore, I don't owe nobody explanation.
Yeah, you don't owe anybody anything.
I'm not the same person that I have been. Now sometimes I slip back there, but I don't owe nobody an explanation. I want to let my yes be yes, my no mean no. And but they have these preconceived notions that their actions, their script is designed to push or to steer us to give them what they want to see. They want to see crazy, then they're going to treat you that way. And so it's kind of
they want you to self-incriminate yourself too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they want you to, it's kind of like the whole being tricked to come here. They want you to feel like it's your choice that got you here.
That is correct.
When they are the ones that are blindfolding you into this whole place.
Yeah.
And so I come from a place of I want everybody to know the truth. So like I have a boss, and there will be times he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Where I've caught myself through the pattern recognition that I used to be like, "Man, I don't belong here," is what I used to respond, or like, "I don't like this place. I'm ready to get out of this place." Well, I've kind of changed it to like, "Man, I am great. How can I help you today?" Like I don't cast pearls against swine in that regard, and it's something else about staying neutral. It's like when he mentions going to church or being super religious or the Lord is his savior and all these things. It's like, oh, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna come from the right place, which is the truth and a neutral standpoint. I'm gonna say if that's what makes you happy and content, I'm gonna let you have that. But if you have questions, I'm also gonna help you with that too, and tell you what I think. But it's almost like it's egging us on in a way to exploit us.
It is, and it's a setup. And so once we learn to see, again, it's about pattern recognition. And when we start to realize those, we have just increased our awareness tenfold. And as we practice that and we maintain our own awareness of A, what's going on around me, and B, how I'm processing this information and my own response to it, then the main thing, only thing we can really control is our own self.
Right.
And once we've mastered this uniform, this outfit that we're wearing here, when we've gotten control over this beast body, then we're being led by the Spirit. And there's a passage in the New Testament that says, walk in the Spirit and you will not fulfill the desires of the flesh. All this flesh suit is designed to do is to continue to be the force field, if you will, around our spirit-containing soul that ties it into this realm. And so once we learn that the beast doesn't control my spirit, but now I am putting my spirit at the head, and that's going to run the show, then you get a whole different thing, and you've got one of self-control. And that's really where neutrality comes in. And then I wanted to talk on what you were talking about. To me, Brandon, I think that the art of allowing other people their opinion, their activities, their things that they're doing, their thoughts, to me, that is an act of love. To me, real love allows. It doesn't always have to correct them, or it doesn't always have to, oh, well, I've got all the answers, and things like that. It allows them to do that. And I really like how you said you're changing your response, because that's something that computes in them, and it doesn't set you on edge with them to where you're looking so totally different that they want to gang up on you and be the first one to cast you out. I think really true love allows, and it allows them to be ignorant. It allows them to be deceived, and it always keeps the door open.
Hmm.
If you got questions, or I don't really see it that way, but I'm glad that's you have found what you need.
Yeah.
That type of thing. I like that.
See, Carrie, that makes me think of that phrase, wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. Like, tread the water the right way. With all the people, like NPCs or whatever anybody wants to call them. It's important for us to stay in a balanced, which we can call neutrality, or centered way of being.
Exactly. And the false prophet Paul wrote it really, really well. So it's probably a tidbit of stolen truth. And that was, be all things to all people. In other words, and I've heard people twist it to mean that you're tricking them. And I'm meaning from our own heart, I can be what that person needs, not to in a manipulative way, but something that they can relate to at their level. When I did therapy, if I'm talking at a PhD level with someone that has a third grade education, we got an issue here, and it's not them, it's me. And so I think a lot of times we talk loftier than what we need to. I know I do. Sometimes, and I don't mean to. Sometimes I do.
When I was
most of the time, not.
through all the various sales jobs I had, they call it mirroring.
Yeah.
So if you sit at some older folks' table and you got like grumpy old man sitting back with his arms crossed, well, that's what you need to do. So that way you can mirror him, and then what it does, it breaks them down into opening up the conversation. Whereas before, he would have just like huffed and gruffed and been like, "Why is this guy wasting my time?" But if you present the same, like you're one of him, then he starts to loosen up. You'll see his arms drop down. He'll lean over the table. He'll say, well, so what about this plan or that, etc.
Absolutely. So here's the deal. As you're saying that, I'm hearing that's exactly what the enemy does to us.
It is.
And so they pick out those things, whether they be gestures, or normally it's things that we have in common. That's why I always say the demons cannot touch you, cannot do anything with you unless you have an area in your life that either you are ignorant of, or that you have shoved down in the deep, deep dark, that you don't want to deal with, or that we're just flat out in denial of. And so those things know that. And so if you want some of the sexual spirits, then engage in illicit activities like that, that are outside of a covenantal relationship. I do not mean government approved. That's totally, totally different. But these are all very different things, but it's exactly, that's what being wise as a serpent means. It means understanding how the system works, and the mirroring is a prime example. And because you're establishing a common place where the grumpy old man seeing you as someone different, and you're going to try to sell me on something, you're coming in the back door and saying, dude, I'm just like you. We can sit here and gripe at each other all day.
Yep.
And that will be just fine. And
exactly.
So the enemy does us that way as well. It gets finds common ground with us, and then it uses that to bring in temptation or inflict wounding, and bring in, a menagerie of different.
Yeah, it's when they'll court into you.
Yes.
As a friend, a wise friend once said.
Access points. And so that's where it gets into what it means to wash the feet. That was a big thing in when I was in church, especially in the Pentecostal churches, and it just disgusted me to no end. I honest to God wanted to throw up. I don't do foot washing. I do my own feet, but
you don't wash your feet, Gary?
Yeah, dude. I don't want nobody else touching my feet. I don't want to look at your feet.
Right.
I don't want to know you even have feet. Just something about that. But I started looking at this from a spiritual perspective, and I think we had talked about doing a little short clip on that, on washing the feet. And so I'm going to save the rest of that for.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that the shorter we make these, the more people can tune in and see things from our perspective, and hopefully branch out of maybe the old ways of thinking, or interpret what we're doing and trying to put out there in a good way.
I think so. And I think what's beautiful about it is that not only can they see how we're seeing things, but they can also leave comments and interact in that manner, and even bring some of these ideas to the open portal things that we have on
to their groups
Sunday.
and channels, and then it starts to collectively build and build and build. So,
and we're here to build each other up. We don't have all the answers.
We're all on our own journey.
Yeah,
but that's why Carrie and I named the channel Journey Points Home, was because we're all on a journey, and we're going to meet others a lot like us, like-minded spirits along the way. That will be journey points. And because we're all headed home. So.
You bet. We're all extended our hands and pulling each other up. And we've all got different experience, different things that we've remembered, or whatever we want to call it. And to me, is an exciting time. And so I can't say enough about how awesome it is to finally, quote unquote, see other like-minded travelers.
Yep.
Because we are sojourners and we are on a journey.
All right, guys, that's it for this one. Look forward to the next one. In case you're getting this on the soon side, we got an open panel for Saturday, the 13th at 12 noon Central Standard Time. Open topics. We got a few in our bag of tricks that we want to bring out, but any topic is welcome. Anybody who wants to hop in and do comments only, that's fine. You don't have to show your face or even talk. So just join us. It's always a good time, and we're getting a lot of good feedback. So the more the merrier.